Here's your wrestling news for September 20th, 2021. And your headlines for today include: Roman Reigns' next 3 matches are reportedly locked in. WWE Extreme Rules not expected to see any title changes. Tommy Dreamer releases statement on his Dark Side of the Ring comments. Undertaker accused of orchestrating backstage bullying in WWE. Big E's title run is due to AEW's momentum, says former WWE talent. Matt Cardona announces retirement. Spoiler on another former NXT superstar joining Impact Wrestling. Missy Hyatt drops horrific bombshell about wrestlers drugging women in the 90s. AEW sets new records thanks to CM Punk. Roman Reigns defeats Big E and former WWE champion in a triple threat match, and more. We're kicking off with the head of the table, Roman Reigns, who's expected to retain his Universal title at Extreme Rules in what'll be a rare in-ring appearance by the head of the table. Over the past year, Reigns has wrestled considerably less on TV, and that trend is set to continue after Extreme Rules. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer reported that Reigns' next 4 matches have been locked in, the first of which will be tonight on Raw, and the second against Finn Balor this Sunday. After that, the Tribal Chief's next opponent will be Brock Lesnar on October 21st at Crown Jewel before he faces WWE Champion Big E at Survivor Series on November 21st in the traditional Raw vs. SmackDown match. Now that Reigns competes less than he used to, his matches are always more of a big deal, and if the plan is for him to face Big E in November, that seemingly spoils that he'll retain against Lesnar in Saudi Arabia. Reigns' second of 4 matches will happen this Sunday at Extreme Rules, but so far, the show has been extreme in name only. At this time, none of the 6 announced matches have a stipulation to them, and fans may indeed be in store for an underwhelming night. According to the latest odds from BetOnline, no titles are expected to change hands in any of the 5 title matches that have been confirmed. Reigns is the heavy favorite to defeat the Demon in what'd be the second loss ever for Finn Balor's alter ego. There's always the chances the odds could change, especially when WWE gets around to announcing the stipulations for Extreme Rules, but unless WWE feels like swerving the audience, expect a subdued event this Sunday. Last week, Vice's Dark Side of the Ring documented the infamous 2002 plane ride from hell in which WWE superstars caused drunken chaos on a flight back to the US. During the flight, Ric Flair exposed himself to a flight attendant and forced her to touch his genitals, which was defended during the show by Tommy Dreamer. Dismissing Flair's horrific acts as someone took offense and comparing it to people not liking his haircut, Dreamer was suspended by Impact Wrestling after the episode aired, and now the ECW veteran is feeling remorseful. In a statement released online, Dreamer said, "Regarding my comments made on Dark Side of the Ring, it was never my intention to offend, hurt, or victim shame anyone. I understand my comments were insensitive and could trigger emotions in someone's own personal past. I do not condone sexual misconduct of any kind. I apologize to anyone I offended. From the bottom of my heart, I am so sorry." In their own statement, Impact said that Dreamer's comments were out of line with our core values, and after 3 years of working with the company both on screen and backstage, Dreamer's defense of the Nature Boy may have cost him severely. In WWE, there's few names more respected than The Undertaker, who was a locker room leader for decades up until his final farewell last year. As leader, The Undertaker oversaw everything that happened backstage, but he might have also encouraged some less than savory behavior. Speaking to That 90s Wrestling podcast, former WWE superstar Rene Dupree revealed he was the victim of some backstage bullying and accused the dead man of being behind one incredibly disrespectful act of hazing. He said, "They took my $500 shoes and $1,000 suit and ruined it in the shower because I didn't go out drinking at a bar the night before because nobody invited me. That's just materialistic shit. You can replace that. That doesn't bother me. What really bothered me is when in Italy the next night, they took my French flag, my heritage, they shoved it in a toilet and pissed and shit all over it. I don't know what bullshit world you live in, but in my world, that's called racial discrimination. That was really hurtful. What I did do was I went to Arn Anderson, who was the agent, and I asked him. Arn's advice to me was, don't sell it. I was like, okay. The next person I went to was The Undertaker, and I said, what do you do when someone does this to you? And he goes, well, you find out who does it. He ordered them to do that because I didn't go out drinking with him and the guys at the bar. The infamous "don't sell it" line is the same as what several female superstars were told when they came to WWE's executives about being harassed by superstars, as revealed by Terry Runnels during the most recent Dark Side of the Ring. We doubt the American Badass would have found desecrating a flag in a toilet so funny had it been the US flag, and The Undertaker hasn't spoken about these claims at this time. It's also worth noting that it was earlier this year that the dead man criticized the modern-day roster for playing video games backstage rather than drinking and carrying knives, but we know which roster we'd rather be a part of. Going out to the bar after a show was also a ritual that few wanted to skip, and apparently that cost Rene Dupree big time during his WWE career. Over to Raw, and we are just 1 week into Big E's reign as WWE Champion, which came in the middle of a ratings war with AEW Dynamite. Dynamite has beaten Raw for the past 2 weeks in the crucial 18 to 49 demographic, and if Renee Paquette is to be believed, fans have AEW to thank for Big E's huge win. Speaking to Busted Open Radio, the former Renee Young spoke about WWE's booking and her belief that AEW's success is responsible for WWE changing course. "I do think that there was more of a business side behind making that moment, especially doing it on Monday Night Raw. Who knows where Big E is going to continue to kind of show up. But yeah, I definitely think that was a bit of, I don't want to say a knee-jerk reaction, but as you see AEW nipping at the heels of WWE, they've got to start making some bigger moves. And they've got to start making fans happy. So you give them Big E, that's going to make people happy." Big E's title win was always the plan, but it was originally set to happen next month during the WWE Draft episode of Monday Night Raw. AEW isn't the only problem for Raw, as they now have to compete against the return of Monday Night Football, and in between these two obstacles, don't be surprised to see more huge moments from the Red brand in the coming months. Earlier this year, Matt Cardona won a brutal death match with Nick Gage to become the GCW World Champion, but the King won't get another chance to carve the broski up with a pizza cutter. Losing the GCW World title recently, Cardona has been able to avoid another bloodbath, and now his deathmatch days are a thing of the past. When asked by a fan if he'll get into another deathmatch, Cardona said that he's retired from deathmatch wrestling and won't be seen competing in any light tube brawls going forward. Cardona was a heat magnet during his brief time with GCW, and immediately after winning the title from Gage, was pelted with trash by the GCW faithful. After introducing a spinner title, Cardona lost the championship to Jon Moxley before AEW All Out, and whatever's next for the ex-Zack Ryder, death matches aren't in his future. At the most recent Impact Wrestling tapings, several ex-NXT superstars appeared on the show, and now another member of the Gold brand is calling Impact home. Fightful reports that Alex Zane, formerly NXT's Ari Sterling, was at the Impact tapings after being released over the summer by WWE. It isn't known if Zane has signed a contract with Impact or if this will be a one-off, but audiences will soon be able to see the ex-superstar in the Impact Zone on TV. More from Dark Side of the Ring, as last week's episode shone a light on the disturbing antics that went on for decades behind the scenes in wrestling, and one person who sadly knows plenty about it is Missy Hyatt. Known as the First Lady of Professional Wrestling, Hyatt was a staple of WCW in the early 1990s, and on Twitter detailed some of the disturbing actions backstage at the time. Hyatt said that at the time, exposing yourself to a stranger and drugging coworkers or even strangers, which is something the Rockers and Mr. Perfect reportedly did, was sadly not frowned upon, and that she's glad the new generation of wrestlers are far wiser. She added that these sort of acts wouldn't fly in any non-wrestling jobs, and that's why most jobs have a legitimate HR department to handle these matters. Dark Side of the Ring has opened up a can of worms about what happened at the time, and though excuses such as boys being boys may have worked at the time, the industry has changed for the better since then. Over to AEW now, as many consider CM Punk's debut last month as an all-time highlight for the company, and it's hard to argue with that. Even Guinness World Records have said that Punk's debut may have been the biggest wrestling pop ever, and on Busted Open Radio, Tony Khan confirmed that plenty of records have been broken thanks to the best in the world. Khan said how over 100,000 Punk shirts have been sold so far, and that thanks to him, AEW have seen records in attendance, TV ratings, and pay-per-view buys. CM Punk has certainly proven to be a valuable asset to AEW, and with a long-term deal with the company, will continue to be one of AEW's biggest names in the years to come as well. And we're ending as we started with Roman Reigns, who may only have 4 televised matches in the works, but continues to compete at live events. One plan that's set to happen is against Big E at Survivor Series, but the Tribal Chief already has a win over the WWE Champion. At the September 18th live event Super Show, Reigns faced Big E and Bobby Lashley in a stacked triple threat, one that Reigns got the win in. As Big E was about to hit the big ending on Lashley, Reigns attacked both men with a chair and speared the Almighty to end the match. With this win, Reigns has beaten both the WWE Champion and the man the WWE Champion beat to win the gold, but we'll have to see who gets the win tonight when the Bloodline faces the New Day on Monday Night Raw. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.